Hi, everyone. Another day, another episode to look forward to. It's World Pet Obesity Awareness Month. As a veterinarian, it's a big concern for pets' health, and I'm here to guide you.
That's right. As a fur parent, it's our responsibility to ensure the health of our fur babies, no matter how cute it is to look at those chubby cheeks.
Let's get started. I'm Dr. Amber, your official veterinarian at Vital Pet Life.
And this is Donnie, your chief treat lady.
We're here to talk about pets, pet nutrition, and wellness, anything that can help our fur children live a longer, vibrant, and happier lives.
All right.
Yeah. Welcome to Vital Pet Life Podcast.
Hi, Donnie.
Hey, Dr. Amber.
How are
doing
you?
today?
Good.
I'm good. I'm good.
Good. We're all good. I'm really
Yes.
excited about today's topic because it's
I
something.
know. I was about to say that too because I have a chubby guy next to me.
But you're working on it, right?
Yeah, but I'm working on it. Like,
Yes.
we're really trying to minimize, like, how we can give him the right nutrition without him getting really upset or
Yeah.
doing like, having the biles or like puking. So we're trying to figure that out, especially if your dog pukes, if, they get to eat longer.
Right,
I have
right.
I have a dog that eats like whole day. Like, we have to basically divide the food like 6 times a day.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, I'm excited to talk about obesity because I feel this is such a huge like topic. A lot of pet parents or like vets always discuss when a pet is a little bit overweight or a little bit underweight. But
Yeah.
yeah, so let's dive in. Like I do have some questions though. Like, so Dr. Amber, what are the factors that can increase obesity in pets?
There are several things that can increase the risk of obesity. So, one of them is the breed. So, some breeds are just more prone to getting obese or getting overweight. So, that has to do with their body build and their fat to lean ratio. So, how much fat in their body compared to how much muscle. So let's think about like a lab and how they're kind of thicker bodied dogs versus a boxer that's like really thin. So labs, because they have a higher fat content naturally, they're more prone to obesity than boxers who have a really high lean content compared to the fat. So that's something just, genetics and their breed plays a role. So we see, lots of dogs can get obese, but more so in like retrievers, so Goldens, Labs, Dachshunds, Beagles, Bassets. So yeah,
You're so cute.
so most of it is that fat to lean ratio just based on their breed. Of course, increasing risk as they get older. So some dogs will be less mobile, so they can't exercise as much. Their weight will slowly kind of creep up over the years. One thing that's really, really important is that I think we've kind of failed to recognize is puppies and kittens are obese, then they're more prone to lifelong obesity. So once the body forms fat cells, you can't actually get rid of them. That's the weird thing.
Wow.
You get overweight, diet, exercise, you work, you lose weight, the pet loses weight. Those fat cells don't go away. They're still there. They may shrink, but they're there for life. So let's just keep in mind that as they're growing, we want to keep them at a lean weight, or we predispose them to obesity if they're overweight as babies.
Wow.
So the other thing is a lot of studies have shown that females are more prone to obesity than males. The exact cause is really not known, but one thing that may be is because females naturally have that higher fat to lean mass ratio. And so, just that's the way we're made, that and dogs and cats, that females naturally have a higher body fat content than males. And so that's maybe why females are more prone to obesity. The other thing is spaying and neutering. So I'm a huge proponent of spaying and neutering. I think we have, a big problem with pet overpopulation and lots of healthy animals being euthanized because they don't have good homes. But Spaying and neutering, I would say the one downside, it does predispose them to being overweight.
Yeah.
And so some of that is because of less activity. The other thing is just hormonal changes. When you remove their
Ovary.
reproductive organs,
Yeah.
you just get, like the hormone system is really finely
Oh,
balanced. And when you take that away, then you can have some hormonal
issues. Yeah.
changes, that increases the risk of being overweight. Also, endocrine diseases, so things like Cushing's, which is an overproduction of steroid in the body,
Oh.
diabetes. Dogs get hypothyroidism, so
Oh my
low
God.
thyroid level. Yeah, so their metabolism goes down, and so it's really hard for them to burn off the calories that they're taking in because their metabolism is so low if their thyroid isn't working normally. So those are some various things. Now, by far, the number one factor in pet obesity is diet and exercise. And so our pets aren't exercising as much as they should. Owners feed them
Diet.
too much,
Hmm.
honestly. So basically, lifestyle, things that we can control. That's the
Yeah.
number one reason why pets get overweight. Yeah, I'm excited to dig in today about this.
Yeah, I think you've touched upon the risks that obesity can basically bring to our pets, and there are like some medical problems that are really like scary that you mentioned. What are the risks that are posed by obesity, and how do I know if my dog or my pet is at risk for a medical problem due to excess weight?
Yeah, that's a great question. Sometimes I think we don't understand what the extra weight does. We kind of just think, gosh, that's more load on our bodies, which of course it
Mm-hmm.
is. And
Mm-hmm.
I keep saying our, but I'm also, definitely talking about pets.
Yeah.
It's a pretty similar process in humans and pets. So when I say our, just think of dogs and cats too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just extra weight. Fat is an active organ and it's constantly producing factors in our bodies. So one of the big things is it produces inflammation. It produces these compounds that increases inflammation in our bodies. And so you can see, dogs have arthritis, and not only from their breed or their body composition. So if we already have arthritis there, we're overweight, the pets are overweight on top of that, then it's just increasing the inflammation in the joints. So arthritis is a big thing. And then it kind of gets into this vicious cycle. So they have arthritis, they don't want to move, they're overweight, they can't move to lose the weight, and so they just keep getting bigger and bigger and
Yeah.
compounding the problem. One thing in cats is type 2 diabetes. So the process in cat diabetes is very similar to type 2 diabetes in humans. So the cat is overweight or obese. Their body is less sensitive to insulin, so
Mm.
their blood sugar is going up. The insulin, it does a lot of things, but one of the major things is to take that glucose into the cells to use as energy. But when their body isn't responding to the insulin, then they're producing more insulin, their blood glucose is going up, and so
It's like a vicious cycle.
yes, this is another vicious cycle. So cats almost exclusively get type 2 diabetes because they're obese. That was almost in practice, you have someone call like, my cat's peeing, my cat's drinking a ton, he's all lost a lot of weight all of a sudden. It's almost like over the phone you can diagnose like type 2 diabetes in a cat because it's such a classic type of thing. Not really, I can't diagnose over the phone, but you know what I mean. Like it's very,
Yeah.
it's very classic. So other things like poor immune system, poor fertility in those breeding pets, if they're overweight, it's harder to get pregnant or have normal pregnancies, difficulty in giving birth.
Oh God.
Lots of studies have shown that being overweight or obese increases their rates of cancer and shortens their lifespans. It's such a big problem. It's not just the extra weight. Like I've said before, there's a lot of health risks. If you need to put them under anesthesia for some reason, like they need a
Oh.
dental or they need some kind of surgery, it increases the risk of anesthesia.
Because of the weight, right?
Like,
Because it
yeah,
depends on.
weight, respiratory problems, things like that.
So my next question is, you can tell your pet is overweight, like just by checking it, but when do you say if it's obese? So
Yeah.
what's the difference between obese and overweight? Like obese,
Yeah.
I guess like just really round. I'm not sure, but yeah, can you tell me when you know it's obese and when it's overweight?
Yeah. So if they are over 10% of their, or at 10% over their normal weight, we consider that overweight.
Okay.
And then if they're over 20% of their normal weight, then they're obese. And let's think about this. It's pretty significant. So a normal kitty, like most cats are about 10 pounds at a
Yeah.
normal weight. So if you have a cat that's 11 pounds, that's just 1 pound, but they're overweight. And if you have a 12-pound cat, they're obese. So let's look at it in a dog, let's say a 60-pound lab. And if they're 66 pounds or 6 pounds over their normal weight, they're overweight. If they're 72 pounds, they're obese. So it's not, because of their smaller body size, it doesn't take a lot of extra weight to
Right.
be in that overweight or obese category, especially for small dogs and cats.
Oh gosh.
So it is pretty significant.
Wow. I mean, we already discussed body condition too in our previous podcast, but for our new listeners, Dr. Amber, could you tell us how to tell, or can you like determine by, remember like the body condition? I
Yep.
remember you mentioned that.
Right.
Especially for dogs. Yeah. Can you
Yeah.
share it again? Yeah.
When I was in general practice, I did a body condition score on every single pet that I examined. So, and this is something that's easy for owners to look for at home too. So that's why I like to explain it. If they're at a normal weight, you should be able to run your fingers across their ribs and fill those indents without putting any pressure in. You should be able to look down at their waist, and they have a little hourglass figure. They have a distinct waist. And then when they're standing and you're looking across their underneath their belly, they should have a tuck up under the belly. So if you have to push in to fill those ribs, if they don't have a waist, if their belly hangs down as far as their chest, all of that tells us they're overweight or obese. And that goes for cats and dogs.
Wow. Okay. I feel like when you were talking about the belly closer like hangs, like I'm like, oh, it's just like a person when the belly
Right.
hangs.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh my gosh. Well, is it still possible for a senior dog to lose weight? Because I mean, you know, senior dogs, they have special diets, like the way they can't exercise as much.
Yeah.
And then if ever they do, like what kind of supplements can you give, especially with their joints, so that they can move? What I did with Tuxedo, I'm not sure if I'm doing it correctly. We basically weigh in like how much calories the treats were, or like
Yep.
the supplements, and then we just added in to his normal calorie intake in
Right.
his like, food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's actually a great way to do it, because anything that we give by mouth on top of their food is adding calories, even if it's a healthy, even if they're getting fish oil, which I love to recommend, that's still adding some calories. And so we would want to decrease their food a little bit just to account for that. So yes, it is possible for senior pets to lose weight. It might take them a little bit longer. We might have to be easier on the exercise, but it's definitely possible, and it's worth it. No matter what age they are, it's going to be healthier for them to lose the weight than continue to be overweight. As far as supplements, definitely a good quality fish oil. Those omegas are so good for inflammation, decreasing inflammation, great for tons of stuff, heart and joints and skin and coat, and just so good for them. But really good for the joints too. And then glucosamine chondroitin, those are two components that are building blocks of cartilage and joint fluid. If we can get that healthy stuff into their joints, then they're just going to overall have better joint health. And then antioxidants like vitamin E and vitamin C that protect their bodies from free radicals. The other thing is green-lipped mussel. It is excellent. It's a great source of omega-3s. It's got some really powerful antioxidants, some micronutrients like zinc and copper and selenium that are all antioxidants. And so just all of these together to really improve that joint health and decrease inflammation in their bodies.
Yeah, but I feel again, always talk to your vet.
Yes.
Make sure you know how much percentage or how much are you giving them, and then so
Right.
that you can add it in. The whole caloric need for the whole, like maybe for the day, so that
Right.
it will be an add-on. Like if you keep on putting like the same kibble and then you just top it, I think you might be giving more than what dogs should be having.
Right. Yeah, and that's definitely, like you said, Donnie, consult with your veterinarian, especially if there's other health conditions that you need to be aware of, and then monitor weight really closely too.
Yeah. So, what are the healthy weight loss tips that you can share other than just walking, or for a healthy pet, I would just running, or
Yeah.
maybe for a dog that or a pet that's like a little bit overweight, like especially for cats?
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious. I know some cats really have the way they have a, what do you call that, a playpen that I see in the wall
Yeah,
sometimes.
like the cat trees.
Cat trees
Yeah.
and all that stuff. Yeah. So what can
Yes, we'll start with dogs first. So, because, like I said previously, the number one issue with overweight and obesity in pets is eating too much and not exercising enough. Whenever we start a pet down the road of weight loss, we want to make sure that we're measuring out their food. That's a huge thing because it's really easy just, oh, I put a scoop in their bowl every day, but do you actually know how much that scoop is?
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I like to have a baseline, like whatever you're feeding now, put it into an actual measuring cup and see, okay, maybe, I'm feeding a cup and a half, and the chart on the back of the bag can give us a good kind of starting point. So maybe for their weight, they should only be getting a cup, but we've been feeding a cup and a half, and, obviously that's too much. So get a baseline, and then we kind of adjust it based on that chart. And then what we're looking for is in dogs, we want to do 1.5 to 2% body weight loss per week. And then in
Oh, wow.
cats, it's even lower. We want cats to lose weight a little bit more slowly, so 1% to 1.5% per week. You really do want to weigh them every single week while we're doing this so that we make sure that one, it's working, that they are losing weight, but two, they're not losing weight too quickly.
Yeah.
Because especially in cats, we can run into a condition called hepatic lipidosis, where if they lose weight too quickly, that fat breakdown actually, their liver can't clear it fast enough.
Oh,
And so they
wow.
end up in liver failure. And so that's really, really serious. So
That's serious.
especially for cats, we need to make sure that they're not losing weight too quickly. So that's the first thing. Measure out the food, weigh them weekly, and shoot for that 1.5 to 2% in dogs, 1 to 1.5% weight loss in cats per week. The exercise, for sure, we want to increase. But if we have like a really overweight animal who's not used to exercising, we don't want to push them too fast. We don't want to
Yeah.
take them on a 5 mile
Take it
hike.
slow.
Yeah, we want to go slow. We want to slowly improve their stamina. And so maybe that means just walking a few houses down and back, just being consistent about it. And as they lose weight and they get stronger, then we can go longer. So it doesn't have to be chasing balls or chasing frisbees or anything like that either, because some of them, they just can't do that, and it's going to be more harmful on their
Harmful.
joints.
Yeah. I was
Yeah,
about
if
to
we
say
try to
that.
do too vigorous of exercise. And swimming is a really good exercise too, because it's easy on the joints. It's a low impact exercise that dogs can do. Now, as far as cats go, they can be a little trickier because it's hard to take a cat on a walk. If your cat is used to a harness and you feel comfortable taking them on a walk around the neighborhood, by all means do that. But for these indoor only kitties who they're not used to that would be really terrifying for them. A couple things. I like to put their food dish somewhere where they have to go for it. And so if they're, kind of hanging out on the main floor most of the time, feed them upstairs. So they have to run up the stairs to get their food. Those cat trees are great. So, just the fact, like you can feed them on top of the cat tree. So they're jumping up to get to their food. You can hide the food in like a box, and so they kind of have to dig for it. One brand, and I'll have to double check that this is actually still available. It was a couple of years ago. It was called Doc and Phoebe's, and they're actually like little mouse shaped feeders that you measure out. And there's, 4 or 5 in a set or something. And so you put the kibble in there and then you hide it around the house. And so like, this is genius. They're hunting animals. So with
They like
these
to do
little
that.
toys, they're hunting, but they're also getting exercise because they're running all around trying to look for their food. Of course, if they like feather toys or laser pointers, anything like that we can get cats to be more active.
Wow.
Yeah. And then clients never liked when I said this, but it's really important to stop feeding treats. Switch to a healthier alternative. Like
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of dogs who love green beans or carrots that are frozen too, or ice cubes.
Oh yeah.
Another thing is, if you just got to give them that little biscuit every day. But maybe you have like a few family members and everybody's giving a couple of biscuits a day. Like that's just adding up. That's a ton of calories. And so, measure out the biscuits. Maybe they get 2 biscuits a day. Put a bowl with the biscuits on the counter. Once it's gone, it's gone. Nobody else gives more treats. So that's a way that you can still give treats, but you're not overdoing it.
Exactly.
Especially if there's multiple people wanting to give treats.
I prefer to give Tuxedo. There's a lot of really good brands that I feel everybody and that's in the market with low calorie, like less calorie treats. Like
Yeah.
I like giving them the small like training treats.
Yeah.
And I put it in a dog ball that they can roll it and then
Yeah.
yeah. So and then I know they're mad at it when they see me like cut it, like it's so small already and
Yeah.
I'm chopping it into 4. But yeah, it's just like the idea at the end they're only getting 2 or 3 treats, one in the morning and one in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And they can just be there's activity and they're happy. Like
Right.
yeah. So
Yeah, I was kind of that mean dog, like the mean, strict dog mom. Like, I would only give my dog vegetables. He almost never got extra treats.
no.
But
Wish
he
I can
still
do
loved,
that.
yeah. But I didn't want him to get overweight. It's so bad
Yeah.
for you. So, yeah.
Yeah, I wish I can do that, but because they know. Tuxedo's so smart. He knows where the treat drawer is.
Oh,
or
yeah,
cabinet. So
absolutely. They know
he will-
exactly.
yeah, so he
Yep.
will be either walking around it, and then sometimes like he will be sitting across it, and I'm like, dude, you just had your treat.
Yeah.
When they're doing that, like I'm like, come on, let's go outside. Let's look for like the squirrel. So we'll run around outside instead of giving
Yeah.
them.
So they're running around, they're burning a few extra calories, and if you give them an extra treat and they're maintaining the weight, that's okay.
Yeah.
We just want to be careful.
Yeah, I know. Okay, what happens when you reach like our weight loss goal? I mean,
Yeah.
I think it maintaining what you have, I guess. Like when do you think that, let's say when you reach the goal, but can we add in, like what do you guys usually do?
Yeah. So then you want to stick with the amount that you're
maintain it?
feeding to maintain that weight. And then you still want to weigh them like every 1 to 2 weeks at first, for a little while, and then maybe once a month after that, especially if they're prone to just packing on the pounds. We want to just monitor that really closely before we end up back where we started. It is kind of an adjustment period once you get them down to their normal weight. You may actually have to increase just a little bit so they're maintaining where they are rather than continuing to lose weight. And I'll just give my personal example. I got my dog when his owner moved out of country. He was 8 years old and he was a little bit overweight. He wasn't obese, but I thought I got to slim him down. And he was an active, even though he was an older guy, he was a really active lab mix. So I put him on a diet and he lost weight pretty fast. And then one day I was petting him. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're too skinny. Like he got a little on the thin side. So I had to increase his food and just continue to monitor the weight, monitor that body condition. Like I could almost start seeing his ribs once I noticed, because he was a really fluffy dog. That's kind of a dumb excuse, but that's what happened is that,
You have to touch it.
yeah, like you have to pet him. And I mean, I
Yeah.
did pet my dog. That sounds really weird. But yeah, you want to monitor, weigh them consistently, continue to watch that body condition so that if you have to adjust it up and down a little bit, even sometimes based on the season. Here where we have like 6 months of snow and we can't necessarily be as active as we can in the warmer months, then obviously you might need to decrease their food a little bit during those times to maintain a healthy weight. So
That's
monitor
yeah.
is basically what you need to do.
Yeah. And then lastly, how can we raise awareness about pet obesity to pet parents? I think what we're doing right now,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just answering my question, but maybe you have a better solution, Dr. Amber.
No, I mean, that's, my goal is to educate people on how to monitor that body condition score, because it is so easy to tell with knowing that information.
When we think about like our health, right? We are always conscious about what we put into our body, and we're always conscious about if we gain weight or not, like if our clothes fit or not.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like it should be the same
Yeah.
to our animals in our
Yeah. And, I think that because about 60% of dogs and cats are overweight or obese, we start looking at that as if it's normal. And so
It's
we
not
may
normal.
not really realize that our pet is overweight too, because 60% of other pets are overweight. And so just getting people to recognize what to look for in their pet if they're overweight. I've actually seen more owners that have thin, normal dogs are like, I think my dog's too skinny. And I'm like, no, your dog is the normal weight. And so we kind of have to shift our mindset on that, like knowing what's normal and then knowing how important it is that they maintain a healthy weight, how detrimental being overweight or obese is for our pets. And so
Exactly.
it's to educate and to monitor.
Oh, that's why we're here. Like, this
Yeah.
is such a good topic to discuss. And I feel too, like, we go to our vets twice a year to have our pets like checked, and we can totally see, like, they get to be weighed in before they go to their exam. But again, as long as we get to know from the vet that the animal or our pets are in health weight, or,
Yeah.
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 So I
Well, and
feel
I
like,
would I would say to owners too, like, don't take it personally. As vets, we're here to help your
help.
pets and to educate you. It's not a reflection on you as an owner. We know that you love your pets, and that's why we want to help you to do the best that you can for them. And
Yeah.
so educating about the weight, and
How to take care of them. Like,
it's super important. So try not to
yeah.
take it personally if a vet tells you that your pet is overweight. And honestly, I had less people be offended and more people like, oh, he's just fluffy or he's big boned
Oh my
And
God.
so
Really?
yeah, we just need to recognize the truth and not take it personally. Just,
Okay.
we
Well,
all
I
want
listen
what's
to the
best.
vets. Like, I
Yeah.
get nervous all the time. So I think my takeaway is always like, again, this podcast basically it's all about being proactive. And
Yeah.
I want our listeners and our community to be proactive because, again, we wanted our pets to live longer and we love
Right.
them to stay with us as much as we can. So yeah, I think
Yep.
that's my takeaway in this like discussion, Dr. Amber. Like, again, be proactive about learning or talking to your vet about your dog's health, like, especially when it comes to obesity, like weigh them, probably if they're healthy, and if you want, like, if you're one of those pet parents that, oh, I haven't weighed my pet for a long time, and after listening to this podcast, like, I feel like you should weigh them and see
Yeah.
if your animal is like healthy or in the right weight. And I think
Right.
Dr. Amber already mentioned. I mean, okay, how do we also know like this is the weight that, like, let's say a terrier should be or whatever?
Yeah, there's charts that you can look up online, I'm sure, of like an optimal weight for this particular breed.
Breed, okay,
Um,
got it.
but there is a quite a bit of difference in some of the breeds. Like you can have Chihuahuas that are little 3 pounders, and then you have
Mm-hmm.
some that are 10 pounds, and so some of the breeds have more of a variation in their size. But that body condition score
Oh yeah,
is
that's the
so
perfect one.
accurate, like that it tells you whether they're overweight or not, regardless of the number on the scale. So number on the scale is important, but in context with the body condition score and their breed. So that's
Okay.
kind of a long answer, but
Yeah, well, that's good. Well, thank you,
I
Dr. Amber.
yeah.
That's a good one. Like, I hope everybody in the community or everyone's listening will take it.
Yeah, I hope so too. That's it for today's episode. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to follow our channel for more talk about pets, tips, advice, and fun stuff.
Happiness, vibrance, and longevity for fur babies and our planet.
This is Dr. Amber, your official veterinarian at Vital Pet Life.
This is Donnie, your Chief Crate Lady at Vital Pet Life. Remember to be a responsible fur parent, and we hope these tips will help you and your fur baby. Until next time.